Well, good afternoon. I'm here today with the Chief Executive Officer of the Arc Mid-Hudson, John McHugh, and Director of Regional Events, Kelly Wright. And we're super excited to have you here today as our next community champion of Walden Savings Bank. So first, let me tell you congratulations. You're our first champion of 2024, and we're thrilled to give you this honor.
Thank you, Derrik. It's really an honor to get this award. We really appreciate the work that Walden Savings Bank does for the community, and this acknowledgement means a lot, so thank you.
Yes, well, you're very welcome. And, one of the things we like to do is give such great exposure to the various not-for-profits in our branch footprint, and you are certainly at the top of the list. So, for those that may not be overly familiar with your organization, we'll start right at the top with maybe you could tell me a little bit about the Arc Mid-Hudson and, what the mission is of your organization.
Absolutely. Arc Mid-Hudson was actually started in 1956 by a group of families in Ulster County who were looking to find supports for their children. And at that time, the medical advice was to send them to an institution. And thankfully, we've evolved since then, and we now have over 1,300 people in our various programs that are supported who have a disability. Our mission, quite frankly, is to offer people an opportunity to explore their goals, their dreams, and give them the supports necessary to be successful. The people that we support are no different than you and I. We all have our own goals in life, our own dreams, and they do as well. Our job is to try to help them reach them.
That's fantastic. And over 1,300 people, I think I heard you say, are supported. And could you share the region for the Arc Mid-Hudson, the counties that you provide these services to?
Sure. We actually cover a wide geographic area. We obviously we're based in Ulster County, but we have supports and services in Greene County and in Putnam County, and in Columbia County, we have a small program there as well. So we cover a wide area of space. And in that space, we offer various different types of supports. Our biggest support is our residential program, where we have about 400 people living in group home settings or apartments. And then we have our day habilitation, our day programs, where people go during the day to work on their goals and what have you. We have various day hab programs spread out through all the different counties. We have one in Greene County, few in Ulster County, and a couple down in Putnam County as well. Those are our biggest programs, but we also have 2 preschool programs, we have 2 clinics, and we have a robust supported employment program, which is basically helping people find work in the community through supports, through their job coaches, and so on.
Yeah, and I wanted to probe a little bit more about, day hab versus this employment piece. So maybe the employment piece at times are some of the folks helping with making something or stuffing envelopes or doing some of those things. And then is day hab more recreational, where they're there and having camaraderie with peers? Maybe just, for those not familiar, these are some new terms. So maybe you could just describe a little bit about the 2 different programs.
Absolutely. And I always have to be careful with the use of my acronyms, because we love our acronyms. And I understand it can be very confusing for someone who's not familiar with our type of work. But actually, in our supported employment program, we partner with over 80 different businesses in the community. And that could range from a fast food business, it could be an office type of work, it could be a cleaning work. So they're not stuffing envelopes or anything like that. They're actually in the community working for other employers and being productive members of the community as well. Mm-hmm. The day habilitation is a program for people who need a little more support. Those are typically classroom setting style learning environments where there'll be different projects that the people will be working on. Again, a lot of it's tied into their goals. So they may be working on art projects, or there may be music or some other sort of theme that's blended into the classroom activity. And those are typically center-based, so they're in a different place than their home. But we also have day habilitation that is out in the community, that they spend most of their time in the community, either doing volunteer work or going to a library or a museum or something like that. So those are the two different types of day programs.
No, that's so fantastic that these programs exist. And when you started with your remarks that prior to 1956, a lot of times the folks needing these service would be institutionalized, and as much as even, I'm not sure if this is the word, but mainstreaming and giving them so many of the same experiences that we all get to share. So it's super rewarding to hear also the amount of people that you provide these services to. So, maybe John, and then I'll get Kelly to answer. How did you first get involved with this line of work? What brought you maybe to the Arc Mid-Hudson, but also to select this as your respective careers? What brought you to this role? And I'll start with you, John, and then maybe move to Kelly.
Sure. So my background is actually in finance. And so when I started working in the field, I was in the accounting department. And I joined a different provider who does the same type of work that we do. And I just loved the mission. I fell in love with the people that we were supporting. I love the idea that even though I might not be doing hands-on work, I was still making a difference in someone's life in the role that I played in that organization. And so I've been in the field for over 30 years, and over time I've taken on different positions and kind of moved up the ladder. But I was chief financial officer here at Arc Mid-Hudson, and then about 10 years ago, I became the CEO.
Well, that's wonderful. So far, you've said two things that really appeal to me as a banker. I was a CFO before I became a CEO, and acronyms. When you said that earlier, I laughed and chuckled because banks certainly have a whole bunch of acronyms and slang. So I appreciate your path to your wonderful role leading this great organization. How about you, Kelly? How did you get into this line of work? What brought you to the Arc Mid-Hudson?
It's actually quite a bit different than John's, but along the same lines. I grew up here and moved away, lived on the West Coast for decades, and I came back. I've been in marketing and advertising for 20 years on the West Coast, and coming back here, there wasn't a lot of positions for what I knew how to do. Right out of high school, I was a CNA, a certified nursing assistant. And I'm also a type 1 diabetic since I've been 15. So it was very important for me to have health insurance. And my friend said, oh, you need to go apply at the Arc. We were Ulster Green at the time. And I said, I don't know what that is, but do they have insurance? And she said, yes. And so off I went. I started out as a direct support professional, or a DSP, because we do love those acronyms. And I went on an interview at a house in Gardner where there were 5 gentlemen supported. And the moment I walked in the door, I fell in love. And the rest is history. Whenever a position opened, I just applied for it, and I worked my way back into sort of marketing, but the same field as what I had experience in. And I've been here 6 years because I love the people that we support, and I would do anything for them. So that is why I'm here and doing what I do. The happier and healthier and more accepted that they are, the more fulfilled I am.
And unscripted, John, you said you love the mission, and Kelly, you said you fell in love. And and all the times I've done this, a lot of people don't use that adjective to describe, but I think people drawn to the work that you do really do love the folks that you provide services to. And you said giving them as much of a normal and happy and healthy and a great environment to live in, and I commend you both for loving what you do and being so rewarded by it. And, there might be people listening, and, certainly Walden is, writing you a check for the community champion. Right. We're going to be promoting you on our podcast and radio clip. But is there a way that other people can get involved? Is there volunteer opportunities, or is it solely just donating money, because that always works too? Or you talked about some of the day hab programs, or maybe going to the library, or being a place that the folks could go to for services or to learn about the library. So maybe to this point of how can folks get, a train it must be going by your place. Is that in Kingston? Yes, I know exactly. And since this is for the longer form, I know exactly where you are. I have a a cousin that I am the provider, the guardian for, that's is in one of your programs in Ulster County. So I've been to your building. So there's a train that just went by, right? So so this is live radio, live TV, right? You can't beat it. But so again, to the question of how can someone get involved with the Arc Mid-Hudson, tell us how, if people listening to this want to support, what does that support or involvement look like?
Well, this is my category, so I'll take the lead on that. There are so many different ways that you can help support the people that we support. We hold fundraising events, 5 to 7 each year. This year we have 5 events. We have a wine and dine. We have 2 golf tournaments. We have a humanitarian awards brunch, and we have a holiday auction. You can get all the information for those on our website, on our social media outlets. We have volunteer opportunities. You can volunteer at any of the events. I'm sure if you want to volunteer to do something with the people supported, we can arrange that as well. We're a nonprofit organization, so donations and fundraising are key. You can donate, you can become a champion of the Arc Mid-Hudson, because we also have that available. And it's all part and parcel of helping us support the people in our care. As for services, if you have someone in your family or friends that may need or would like to have services, just call our main number and we will get you in touch with the operations, and they can explain everything and what that process looks like and the care that we do provide. I mean, we will do whatever it takes for anybody who wants to get involved. The more people that are advocates, then the easier it is for us to help our people live the best life that they possibly can. So that's the main goal.
If I could add in as well, so as Kelly mentioned, we are a membership organization, so you can become a member. And I like how we both are using the same phrase, champion, and that's what we've sort of termed the people who become members of our organization. We call them champions. They can become a champion, and they get involved in all those ways that Kelly talked about. But another way that people can get involved is advocating for better funding for our organization and for the field. So we are a not-for-profit organization, as you know, and we're funded through New York State Medicaid. And we've had a very difficult time, as many other not-for-profit organizations have over the last few years, of trying to get adequate funding in order to, to fund our programs, to pay our staff appropriately, so on and so forth. So we often call on our champions to make a phone call or send an email to the local assembly member or senator and ask them to support the Arc Mid-Hudson, ask them to support people with disabilities. So if you can't come to an event or you can't go and volunteer at a program, this is another way that you can participate by advocating for Arc Mid-Hudson and calling or emailing to Albany and asking them to please support the Arc Mid-Hudson. We're asking this year because it's been very difficult, as you know, with inflation. It's been very difficult for our staff to keep up with costs. So we need to make sure that they're paid appropriately so that they can deliver the supports that the people in the programs need.
No, that's so super important in any industry. And I really can see how advocacy and being a champion of the cause, because Kelly, you talked about 5 to 7 great fundraising events, but that becomes a resource burner, right? That you have to plan the events and do all the logistics. So certainly helping better fund through Medicaid and getting Albany, or in Washington, if it's on a federal level, to understand the needs, because then you can really be helping directly the folks of the ARC. And, although fundraising also gets awareness and helps tell your story, it's always with a lot of the champions we've had over the 4 years, it's, events or 5Ks or galas or whatever, but then, you're spending a lot of time doing that stuff and not always the great stuff of working with the patrons within your system. So certainly those listening today, advocate, be a champion, spread the word. Because again, a lot of times we just think, oh, donating or volunteering, but I love that there's this opportunity for folks listening today to just understand that they could, just spread the word, talk to the decision makers in Albany, in Washington, and help, share the message. So for sure. So what is one of the big events that you actually have coming up in the next like 2 or 3 months? Because you gave me that calendar of great events. So, as folks are listening to this today, what are maybe the one that's right around the corner that you could share with us, Kelly?
Well, this is my favorite subject to talk about are my events. The next one we have is April 12th. It's at the Diamond Mills Hotel in Saugerties, New York. We have Bob Siricasano from Sawyer Motors, who's a big advocate of ours. He will be hosting the event. It's a 4-course dinner with wines paired, and the wines are donated from Stone Ridge Spirits and Wine. We have an auction, and then we also have Ian Flanagan performing, and Ian Flanagan is a local Saugerties boy who was on The Voice, and he came in 3rd place and had a hit single with Blake Shelton and is now living in Nashville. So he has graciously agreed to come perform for us during the event. So it's going to be a really big and exciting evening for everyone who attends. I'm excited about it.
and we named it appropriately. It's called the Wine and Dine, right? And so as Kelly said, it's one of the favorite ones. The Wine and Dine has grown in popularity over the years. And so we actually had to move it to Saugerties to a bigger venue because we had so many people coming. But I think it's the best event. I think it's the best value as far as events go, because the wines that are donated are just extraordinary. The food is delicious, and the atmosphere is just fun. So if you have a chance to come, it's April 12th, 6 o'clock in Saugerties at the Diamond Mills Hotel. Guaranteed to have a fun time.
Well, you had me from spirits, wine, and beer, so you hit all my favorite things, and it sounds like it's something different. As we get on the fundraising circuit, I always love those events and using local wineries and distilleries and their cideries, and it sounds like you've hit a lot of the right notes to have a really unique event, raise awareness for the Arc Mid-Hudson, and hopefully raise some funds for sure.
Yes, we have a very supportive community, and we just couldn't do a lot of what we do without their help and their donations. So if you want tickets, Derrik, they are on sale on our website.
Great, and I think that's a fantastic segue for how can people get in contact with you. You talked about calling, website. If you have a social media channel, would you be able to share that with us?
We do. Our website is arcmh.org. We're on social media, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or now it's called X. We are on TikTok, and it's the Arc MH. And then you can also call, the number is 845-331-4300. And you can even stop by if you want, if ever you're in Kingston.
Yes, I've been there plenty of times, actually, as shared, and it was in 2010, I became the guardian of someone that received services from you. So I'm a super fan of what you do, and I think that's why your application got moved to the front of the list this year for 2024. I was so happy. We don't exactly know who the nominator was, but you had me, like I said, from hello, because I know all the great work you do firsthand. And, it's not easy, post-pandemic, same challenges I have trying to find workforce and tellers, and, people got used to remote. And I know a lot of the folks that are in a home program, you need coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so, also the same things that I'm juggling with as a banker, you are, but even more, if you will, just in some of the programs that are run 7 days a week, 24 hours. So the need for funding or, to generate funds from fundraisers like you described on April 12th are super critical to your organization. So I wish you huge success on all of that.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing work that you both are doing. And again, I'm sending my sincere thanks from Walden Savings Bank to the Arc Mid-Hudson. And thank you so much for the amazing work you do in the communities you serve. Congratulations.
Derrik, thank you very much. Again, we are very humbled and honored to receive this acknowledgement, and we want to thank Walden Savings Bank for your acknowledgement of us and also the work that you do in our community. It's extraordinary and very appreciative, so thank you.